the first card you have for your past is the Five of Wands. Okay, so there's a lot of mess in this card. There's a lot of confusion, lots of kind of people fighting, not knowing what they're doing. I'm actually seeing something quite specific here. I think there might have been some kind of building, or might have been decorating or fixing things up or moving even. Some disruption, something where everything had to be kind of moved around and changed around. It's something like that. And I think it disrupted you a bit. It was kind of annoying. I'm seeing something actually stopping, postponing something. It's something like that because of this disruption. And I think you had a routine set up, and you do have these routines set up. You're very earth-like in that way. You kind of have things set up, and you hate anything kind of coming along and changing that, because you're really good at setting up these kind of systems and routines. And I think that might sound a little bit regimented to a lot of people, but you're not like that at all. You're actually the opposite. You're a very creative, very dynamic kind of a person. But yeah, I think the systems you set up and the routines, they actually help you to be more creative, because, you don't have to worry about the day-to-day things, because you've already kind of set that up, if that makes sense. So you're very, very well organized. It's almost like your routine sets you free, which is fantastic, if that's the case. And it happens with a lot of creative people. A lot of people kind of, they kind of get the wrong idea about creative people. They think, oh, you just sit around waiting for inspiration and then you paint or whatever, or you write. No, the opposite's actually the case. Really, truly successful artists and musicians and writers, they keep on working, and that makes more work. They actually sit down and say, right, I'm going to do this amount of time. I'm going to do this work. It might be bad, it might be good, it might be terrible, but it's something, and it's going to lead to something else. And I think that's what you're like, if that makes sense, because you do have a lot of creativity in you. Nothing's perfect, your routines aren't foolproof, but you pretty much have a framework sorted out, I think. But then, at this time, there was this kind of disruption, something was messed up, and it kind of felt to you a bit like, everything kind of fell down around you, and you had to kind of pick up all the pieces. It's just like, look at all these wands. I'm just imagining them all kind of falling down like toothpicks or something. If you've ever dropped a whole container of toothpicks, you have to go pick them all up, that kind of thing. What a mess. So but you're a really determined person, so I think you did find a way around this thing. It wasn't perfect. Things were disrupted. Things might have been late because of that, held back or something. But I think once this is all over, I think things are going to be a lot better. So this disruption's for a good cause, I think. If it's building work or moving or something, things, when this change is actually made, it's going to be a lot better for you. You're going to have to, you're going to be able to kind of work much better in the new way, or the new place, or when it's all finished. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so the next card you have for your past is the Chariot. Okay, I hope this isn't too confusing. I'm sorry this is all confusing so far. I'll try and do my best to kind of get through this and kind of let you know what I'm seeing, because sometimes I see a lot of different things and I do struggle to articulate it, so I'm going to try, as I always do anyway. So I'm seeing one person. There are two different people here I'm seeing in this card. There's one person that you wanted to see more of. You're very excited to see them. Your heart was with them. You're like, oh, I really want to see this person. That's the feeling I'm getting. And then there's this other person, a second person, who you wanted to see less of. So it's like you wanted to guard yourself against this second person, like this man's guarded in this kind of box. But with the other person who you really wanted to see, you are heading toward them, like this man's kind of in his chariot and he's going towards something. So yeah, it was very exciting, this new love connection, the one you wanted to go toward. It was, there's a lot of newness, a very, very fresh feeling. It's like, oh, it's so exciting. And you had them on your mind. And I think you might have even tried to get them off your mind sometimes, because you're a very level-headed person. You do fall for people, but you don't usually fall for people to this extent. It was very, very deep, very, very quick. There are a lot of mixed feelings here as well. You had hope for them. But then I think a part of you might have been feeling as if, oh, I don't know if this is going to be impossible. Can we do this? Can I actually, be in a long-term relationship with this person? I want it to be. but I just don't know. So I'm getting that as well. And there might have been some kind of distance between you as well, maybe a physical distance. But there are also a lot of other practical reasons why logically you might have been thinking, oh, I don't know if this is going to work. So you love them, you have them in your heart, but then there was this kind of practical side of you that was saying, I don't know, I'm not sure. I want it to work, but I just don't know. That's what I'm getting. Now, with the second person that you're trying to kind of get away from, I'm seeing love around them as well. I don't know if this is an ex or someone who's kind of, I don't know, it's a little bit confusing. But yeah, I think that they were definitely out of your life as far as you saw things. I think they probably still had hope for you. Yeah, I'm not saying you were seeing two people at the same time. That's not what I'm seeing. But I think this second person was maybe hoping that there'd be a second chance with you in there somewhere. That's what I'm getting. So they still had hope for you, but you didn't have any hope for them. You were moving on to this other person, or you already had. So I think this might still be going on, actually. They might still feel that way about you. So if you're not aware of this, this ex or whoever this is that you've left behind, I think they still have a lot of hope for you, that sometime or someday you'll come back to them. That's what I'm getting in that card. I'm sorry, that was a bit confusing. I'm saying a lot as well. You know, someone left a comment, and I think it was on Taurus. I'm not blaming Taurus. I love Taurus. Someone said, oh, you say too many times. I don't like the way you say Well, I'm sorry about that. The last card you have, you pass the 9 of Wands. Sorry, I'm going to get back in. I'm sorry, I'm not going to be silly. Okay, so again, I'm seeing in this card, there's this confusing love situation. I don't think it was confusing to you, because I think you were leaving one person behind, or you left them behind, and you had these really, really strong emotions for this new person. It's just confusing to me, not to you. You know, your heart just felt what it felt. I'm really getting these really strong feelings that you had for this new person. And I'll just show you how I'm seeing that. So you're coming towards someone like this man, and I think your head, your logic might have been telling you, oh, I don't know about this, don't know if I should move forward. But it was like your heart was almost moving your feet forward for you. It was like you're being forced, like, oh no, my heart's kind of carrying me into this. So you're coming forward, and what was behind you was this other person, this second person who you're getting away from. And even though they were still thinking about you, and maybe you knew that, you had to move forward. You knew that you had to move forward, because if you look at these mountains behind this man, I don't know if you can see, I'll move it up so you can see. If you look at these mountains behind this man, they're barren. There's nothing growing on them. So you're kind of thinking, no, there's nothing in that old relationship. There's nothing left there. There's no point in me going to that person or anything else. It's completely barren. Nothing's growing there. So, you know, I really hope you're able to sort this out in your mind. There's a lot of power around these new emotions, a lot of power. Sometimes when you're blown away by something very, very powerful, you can't always see the details in that, if that makes sense. So if you're having these really strong feelings right now, I'm not trying to be negative. Don't think that. I'm really, really not. But this man's very, very cautious. So just keep that in mind. Keep that in the back of your mind. You know, there's some reason why that caution's there. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with them. I'm just saying that maybe you might be going into this a little bit too quickly. You need to keep your head about you. That's all I'm seeing. That's all I'm saying there. So the first card you have for your presence, the Emperor. Yeah. Okay, so I'm seeing the same kind of thing here. And I think you know this. I think you're trying to kind of tame yourself a little bit from kind of jumping ahead. You know, you're very, very strong externally. You show your strength externally. A lot of people see you as a very strong person. Now, you're strong internally as well. But yeah, I don't think many people knew, or maybe nobody knew, about how you were feeling, these strong romantic feelings you were having, these emotions. I think you were trying to present yourself, and maybe you still are, because this is in the present, a bit like this Emperor. You know, I'm not saying you being fake. I don't think you were putting up a front or anything like that. But I think you're mindful of who was around you and how you were coming across. especially in the workplace, and especially around, there were some other people you had around you. I don't know if they were relatives, but you had some people around you, and you're trying to make sure that you weren't kind of acting a little bit crazy. You were trying to steady yourself almost. Yeah, I'm actually seeing students. I don't know if you teach or if there might be children around you. There might even be your children that I'm seeing. There's this the feeling I'm getting is, I can't let this show. I can't act like a silly teenager, because I keep on getting these really strong feelings that you have for someone, and you don't want to kind of act silly yourself. It's a little bit like, don't take this the wrong way, maybe this is a silly example, but it's a bit like when someone's had too much to drink and they're trying to pretend they haven't. I'm not saying that's you, but I'm just getting this, I can't let this mess up my head. I can't let these feelings show. I've got a lot to do. People rely on me. They see me as strong. I can't look silly. I can't look irresponsible. That's the kind of feeling I'm getting. I hope that makes more sense to you. So, I think you're trying to be a little bit like this emperor, in control, in charge of everything. But the inside's completely different. It's all for emotion, total emotion. If this is resonating, I think you're fine. I don't think anyone's looking sideways at you, so don't worry about that if that's what you're worried about. Okay, so the next card you have your presence, the Page of Swords. Okay, so I think this is probably about this person who you've left behind. From what I'm seeing here, it's not as if you don't feel anything for them. You do have a history with them. You have some affection for them because of that history. And there's another link you have with them as well. I think you might have a few links, because I'm seeing this long history between you. You probably have shared friends. Your families probably know each other, things like that. So there's a lot to kind of untangle, and it's kind of gradually untangling. But there's no romantic love left for you. I'm not seeing that at all. It's just not there anymore. And, they just haven't come to terms with that yet. That's what I'm seeing. And, okay, this might sound a bit strange, but this is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a book or something. Yeah, it's a book, definitely a book. It might be a gift. They might have given you this book, or it might be something they're going to give to you. There's a lot of thought in this. There's a lot of thought that they put behind this gift. I think it's about something you really love, something that you do, some interest you have. They've really thought about this. They've either given you this or they're going to. I really feel for them, because they're trying to come back. They're trying to make this effort, and it is a beautiful effort. If someone's thought about what you love, what you're interested in, and they've given you a book about that, it really shows their thoughtfulness. So yeah, I do feel for them, but you're not stringing them along. I'm not seeing that. It's just that they can't quite let go. Yeah, I'm really feeling for them if all that resonates, because they are trying, but they're just not seeing the reality of the situation. So the last card you have your presence, the Four of Swords. Yeah, okay, I think this is just a message to you, because there's so much confusion in this reading, and the first card that came up was the Five of Wands, which is kind of total mess, and it really set a precedent for the whole reading, I think. There's a lot of physical confusion around you with this moving or this building work or whatever this is, interruptions in your routines. There's this confusing love situation. There's this person that doesn't want to let you go. And there's all these kind of really powerful love feelings you're feeling. And there's confusion around that, because it's like, oh, my head's saying this and my heart's saying this. So obviously the message here is, try to take some time out of absolutely everything if you can. If you can't physically take yourself out of things, try to do this mentally in some way. Sit somewhere quietly, meditate if you can. Yeah, my feeling is that with this relationship, this one that you have these really strong feelings around, I might be wrong about this, but the feeling I'm getting is that it might just be early days. If it is early days, maybe you should just step back a little bit from this. I'm not saying don't be with them. I'm not saying don't talk to them. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with them. I just keep getting these really fast, powerful, strong emotions. And of course, when you feel like that, it feels amazing. But you can't base decisions on those feelings. You can't base many things on those feelings. You have to kind of base them on logic. You can follow your heart. I'm not saying don't follow your heart, but there's a lot of confusion in your head, It's like my heart's here, my head's not sure. Back off from making any big decisions, I think, around this person. Don't kind of go, oh yes, I'm in love with you, I'm going to move away, I'm going to move countries, I'm going to move to near you. Just, you can do that, you can do that. I'm not saying don't do that, but take your time. Take your time until you know 100% what's happening, until you really, really, truly know them. That's what I'm seeing. That's what the caution is there. Don't be angry with me. That's what I'm seeing. All right, so the first card you have in your future is the Queen of Wands. Okay, what I'm seeing here is, when this confusion's over, this building work or this environmental confusion, once that's over, there's going to be a feeling of calm, this kind of more settled feeling. And then I think you're going to be able to move ahead with more things, with your systems. You'll be back into your old routines again. The other thing I'm seeing is there's some kind of decision that you're going to have to make. I think it might have been around you, but I think you're holding off on that. And I think when this is all over with, you're going to have more headspace, and I think you're going to be ready to make that decision by the time this is all over with. I'm seeing a career decision, and it's a big decision actually, and that's another reason why I think you need to take time out, because you can't be making these big decisions when you're in the middle of confusion, any kind of confusion. But with this decision, I think it might actually be a choice between something safe. There might be something, for example, it might be something that has a safe salary attached to it, but maybe it's not very interesting. And the other choice is, it might sound a little bit more exciting to you, but maybe it's not as stable. So it might be between two things like that. Because I'm just looking at this queen, and on the left of her throne, there are these big golden pyramids. So she's got a choice there. And on the other side, it just looks a bit kind of dull and grey and all of that. So it's not very interesting. It's kind of flat and boring. So I know which one I'd want, but obviously you're going to have to make up your mind about this. Okay, try not to, people always tell me off for giving advice, but if I see advice or warnings or whatever, I'll say, try not to base this career decision on what's happening in your love life, in this new relationship. Definitely make this decision independently of all of that, anything that's going on there, because I'm seeing a really good opportunity here, and I don't want you to kind of miss out on that because of your emotional situation. If something's going to last, it will, and if something's meant to be, it will, regardless of what you choose career-wise or where you go or what you want to do. And if they really care about you, if they truly love you and want to be with you, and if there is a future here, they will back you up, and they'll want you to be your best and do your best. So just keep that in mind as well. That's all I'll say about that. So the next card you have for your future is the Knight of Swords. Yeah, again, I can't help it. I have to say this. Try not to be like this knight, rushing in without thinking, especially when it comes to love. If you are having these really, really powerful feelings, you probably won't listen to me. But again, if they truly care about you, they'll want you to be happy, and they'll want you to make a decision that really brings out your full potential. Just keep that in mind, because I don't think they're going to come out and say, don't do that. It's not going to be like that. But you might be thinking like, oh, I really have these feelings. I really feel for this person. There's such strong feelings. I don't want anything to mess that up. I don't want to kind of take a job that makes me move, or I don't want to take this opportunity that takes all my time away from them, or don't think in that way. Make your decision independently of whatever's happening in your love life, because if they truly want you, once again, they're going to back you up, and they're going to follow you, and they're going to be with you no matter what you choose to do. And again, look at this card. It can be about rushing forwards in love. If you look at this horse's eye, there's a little red heart behind his eye. So of course, be in love. It's amazing. I'm not trying to pour negativity on this. It's a fantastic feeling. I know that. But also keep your eyes open, and keep your eyes on what you want as well, and what you want to achieve. Don't take your eyes off that and totally focus on this one person. Don't put all your hopes, all your dreams and everything into one person. I'm not saying you're doing that. It's just the warning I'm seeing here in this card. All right, so the last card you have for your future is the Six of Wands. Yeah, look at this. Victory. So yeah, you absolutely can do this thing. If you're looking at 2 career choices and you're saying, oh, maybe I better stick with a safe choice, you know, even though you kind of don't really want to, your heart's saying, oh, I don't really want to do that safe choice, but it's the safe choice. It's the sensible choice. Again, I don't want to tell you what to do, but because, it stresses me out as well to tell you what to do. But my feeling is, from what I'm seeing here, my feeling is that if you chose the dollar option, you probably regret it. You know, you probably look back and you'll think, oh, what would have happened if I had have chosen that? Where would I be living? What would my life be like? You know, would I have more resources? Would I be living in a better place? Would I have a more interesting, fulfilling life? Would I this? Would I that? So don't ever look back and think that. Do the thing. If it all goes wrong, you can always go back and make another decision later. It doesn't matter. Don't be so stressed about this. That's my feeling in that. So, you know, if you feel as if you need to have more savings behind you, or if you feel as if you need to wait a bit, of course, do that if you can. But I'm seeing success here. I really am. This is victory. So if you're worrying about taking this kind of more slightly risky choice, my feeling is that you're going to have success with that.